The Sports Cast, September 26, 2022. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Apple Podcast. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online digital radio. We're also on Facebook. Search for Sleon Sports and visit our website, thesportscast.net. Also, get our app, The Sportscast One. We have everything: news, radio, podcasts, you name it. NFL Week 3 2022 is set. We have one more game tonight. Injuries are starting to creep in with a lot of the players. But join us today from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Joe Toscano. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Thanks for having me back. Another lovely weekend of NFL football. Always exciting. And I got to watch all of it. I was so happy.
Do you do a red zone style, or do you
Red
flip
zone,
around
yeah.
on NFL, whatever?
Both. I have
ticket?
like the games. There were two games on TV because the Steelers played on Thursday. So there were games on TV, but I also have red zone, and red zone it's the greatest invention since sliced bread.
I know, and it's funny because I've been seeing other sports copying that too. For soccer, I don't know about baseball. Maybe
I wish college football would do that. I think that would be the coolest thing, to just have the highlight after highlight.
I agree. Especially, I think the 12 o'clock games are pretty busy for the most part. We didn't talk about this because you were out last week. Browns beating the Steelers 29-17. Your reaction? I know this is a rivalry game, but what happened there?
I mean, it was in Cleveland, and I greatly underestimated the Browns. I didn't think they'd do anything with Jacoby Brissett, but he's actually looking good. The Browns are pretty solid. They have maybe the best running attack in the league, very good defense. That's going to keep you in a lot of games, and they're just doing enough. And the Steelers are a bit of a mess right now. They're basically they're hurt. The defense is hurting because they don't have TJ Watt, and the offense is hurting because they have Mitch Trubisky, and it's just an absolute mess right now. And when your offense is doing nothing and you leave the defense on the field all the time, it's just a disaster.
Do you think there'll be a quarterback change sooner than later?
That is the big question. It would have been smart if they did that for next week against the Jets, because they had that 10-day layover, but Tomlin says he's not. But if Mitch Trubisky keeps failing, at some point you're going to have to put Kenny Pickett in. So it all depends on Mitch Trubisky. If he could get it together, if he could start playing well, then he'll be in there. Otherwise, forget about it. It'll be Kenny soon.
When you say Kenny Pickett, is it because we've seen Mason Rudolph a little bit already, so that's already been a conclusive thought, and Pickett will be QB2?
It'll be Pickett, yeah. Mason Rudolph is just in an emergency right now.
Interesting. Okay, that sounds fair enough. Pickett is the first first draft pick of the Steelers this past offseason. From the Pittsburgh area, knows the facilities really well, more than any other rookie in history. Will Steelers be over 500, do you think, this season?
That's tough to say. I mean, they look really bad right now, but the NFL season is a marathon, not a sprint. So just because they don't look good now doesn't mean they can put it together. They have an awful, brutal stretch of games coming up. They have the Bills, I believe they have the Dolphins, they have the Tampa. They have a really bad stretch of games, and then it gets a little bit easier. So if they do end up around 500, it'll be later in the season.
Speaking about the Dolphins, tough team to play. 3-0. Eagles are 3-0, and maybe the Giants 3-0 tonight. But we'll find out what Joe predicts when the Giants play the Cowboys tonight on Monday Night Football. But are you ready for NFL Week 3 recap?
Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. So let's go into Buffalo, Miami. Miami 3-0. Had to grind it out, even with the Patriots, they say. Grinded out last week with Baltimore. They beat Buffalo 20-19. Tua Tagovailoa had 13 of 18 passes, 186 yards. Waddle, 102 yards. Josh Allen, his typical 400 yards, right? Pretty good. Tagovailoa left the game with a bad head injury, but he came back in. It wasn't a concussion. And Josh Allen, the Bills could not have hide it, even though they got a safety. But good win by Miami.
This was an incredible game, and the main thing to take away from this is the Dolphins are legit. You know, the big question going into the season was, oh, is Tua going to be good enough? Is this team going to be good enough? They are looking amazing right now. The Bills just, they had the ball for most of the game, and they just kept screwing up. They were just driving all over the place, but just could not put it into points, and that just hurt them at the end. Incredible game. I'm sure that it was very hot down there. I'm sure that had a lot to do with how they played, but still, kudos to the Dolphins. They went toe-to-toe with the Bills, and they came out ahead.
Very, very human in Miami, as Joe was saying. And of course, the Bills tried to tie it up, but they couldn't spike it. Don't you hate it when you have 4 seconds and you got to get the ball in the middle of the field and try to spike it, but the linemen are not all there? It's the worst feeling.
It's a mess. It's a mess. And actually, at the end of the first half, they had the same problem. It's like, you know, those little things, they come back to bite you.
Cincinnati Bengals are back, Joe, 27-12 against the New York Jets. Joe Burrow threw 3 touchdown passes, and the defending AFC champions got their first victory of the season. Unbelievable, 1-2. But hey, pretty much anyone could beat the Jets in New York.
The Jets are a mess. That they even won one game is an absolute miracle. They're just bad, and Cincinnati is too good to be bad, to keep losing. So this was inevitable. This was just a big get right game for the Bengals. And yeah, the Jets are a mess, but they play the Steelers next week. It would not surprise me at all if the Jets beat the Steelers the way the Steelers are playing.
Wow, that's how bad it is in Pittsburgh. Okay, another team that had their first win of the season, Tennessee Titans, beat Las Vegas Raiders 24-22, just 2 points. Ryan Tannehill threw for 264 yards. Yes, Malik Willis is breathing down his neck, and a touchdown, and ran for another score. And the Titans beat the Raiders 24-22. Derrick Henry ran for 85 yards. Not much for that type of player, and a touchdown. Hey, Tennessee's not looking good, but they barely beat the Raiders, huh?
Tennessee is still having problems. I don't know. I think they're just a team on the decline. They have not looked good this season, but the Raiders are just a mess. They're probably done. They're the only 0-3 team. They're probably done. They're probably eliminated from the playoffs now. Josh McDaniels is their new coach. When are people going to figure out that this guy is not a coach? He was a disaster in Denver. Now he's a disaster in Las Vegas. I don't know. It's not looking good with the Raiders.
I'm sure the Patriots want McDaniel back. But everyone was talking about the Raiders being number 1 in AFC West. I think those predictions are kind of dead right now.
Whoops.
Devontae Adams is going to change the whole team around. Not really. Okay. Baker Mayfield, another first win for the season. Carolina Panthers, 22-14. Chenault called a momentum-changing 67-yard touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield in the fourth quarter. Marquise Haynes returned a fumble, 44 yards for a touchdown, and the Panthers defeated the New Orleans Saints, Jameis Winston, 22-14 to snap a 9-game losing streak. I did not do the counting for that team. Winston had 353 yards, so he had a good game. Maybe the next game he'll have 100. But hey, Carolina, maybe some momentum there.
Carolina is another team that's just, they're a bit of a mess. There's keep talking about the coach is going to be fired. Yeah, they won, but they didn't really look good. Baker Mayfield didn't look that great. I think New Orleans, they might have a problem with their offense. I think Jameis Winston is playing with a broken back or something like that. Like that just does not sound good. So they're these are just two teams. Both teams are in trouble.
Rookie wide receiver Chris Olave had 147 yards. Traquan Smith had 105 yards. Christian McCaffrey 108 yards. Not good. Not bad for your fantasy team, Joe.
It's about time. I mean, if what Carolina needs to do is just run the entire offense through McCaffrey, get that running game going, get him involved, and then just go get everything off of that, because that's the only way they're going to win.
Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, I believe it was his first win in New England. Threw for 4 touchdown passes and ran for another score to help Baltimore hold off New England Patriots 37-26. He became the first player in the Super Bowl era with 3 or more passing touchdowns and 100+ rushing yards in consecutive games. They were supposed to win last week, so they had to come into New England and win it. But who cannot win in New England? It's like New Jersey Jets. It's New York Jets.
No, they're the New Jersey Jets. You got it right the first time.
Pretty much. But not bad. Not a bad win for the Ravens, I guess.
The Ravens are looking amazing right now. Lamar Jackson is looking amazing. He's just, everything he's doing is working. New England just tried to go toe-to-toe with them, and they were able to keep it in, but the Baltimore defense stopped them, and then Mac Jones got hurt, and that pretty much sealed it for them. But Baltimore is just too good right now.
Yeah, and Mac Jones had a high sprained ankle. That's what they're seeing, but they're going to do an MRI and see where he's at. He's been having like back issues and now an ankle. I guess he's hitting the injury bug lately.
Yeah, and I mean, they don't have much behind him. I think it's Hoyer and Zappy, the rookie. So if he can't if he can't play, the Patriots might be in trouble.
Cam Newton's available. He's free.
There you go. Bring him back.
Detroit loses against. Wait, hold on. Did Detroit lose against Minnesota, or Minnesota beat?
Minnesota won.
Minnesota, okay, making sure because I thought Detroit was going to win. Minnesota beat Minnesota. Minnesota beat Detroit 28-24. Cousins had 260 yards. Goff 277. Jamal Williams had 20 carries, Joe, for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Lions, who gave limited action to DeAndre Swift after he was listed as questionable with an ankle injury. Hey, Jamal Williams is a great backup, isn't he?
Yeah. And apparently he did a dance that caused a penalty or something like that. But the Lions are looking good. I think they're. I don't want to say they're legit, but it wouldn't surprise me if they won 7, 8, 9 games.
Can they win on Thanksgiving this time?
What's that?
Can they win on Thanksgiving this year?
Oh, it depends. I don't know.
They usually don't.
There's Thanksgiving traditions. There's cranberry sauce and turkey, and the Lions losing. You can't stop those traditions.
You can't. Good job, Minnesota. Anyways, and Cordell Patterson had a good game, I believe. Was it Cordell Patterson? I haven't had my notes disappeared on me, so that's why I'm like juggling right here.
The Vikings are kind of weird because they're, sometimes they look good and sometimes they look bad. Like apparently any primetime game is kryptonite for Kirk Cousins. So as long as they play at 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock, they're good. But if you play them at night, they're like the Gremlins or something. Exactly.
No, Cordell Patterson plays for a different team. Anyways, let's go on to Cincinnati. No, I'm kidding. We're going on to Washington. Philadelphia beat Washington 24-8. Do you remember Devontae Smith? Well, I remember him now. Made sure he caught 8 passes for a career high of 169 yards and a touchdown in the Eagles' 24-8 route of former quarterback Carson Wentz, who got sacked like 6 to 8 times. So, hey, Eagles are 3-0, the best team in Pennsylvania. What do you have to say about that, Joe?
Oh, they are. They're not just the best team in Pennsylvania. They might be the best team in the league. The Eagles are looking amazing right now. They're just firing on all cylinders. Jalen Hurts looks awesome. The big question was, well, how's AJ Brown going to do on this team? And he has just made the offense so much better. Look at what he did to Devonta Smith. I mean, if you're paying attention so much to AJ Brown, Devonta Smith is going to be there. That is a powerful offense, and they have a good defense too. So, Eagles are legit.
And Jalen Hurts, who was 22 of 35 for 340 yards, gave a touchdown to each. Smith, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and Dallas Goedert. You remember Dallas Goedert?
Yeah, I kind of bummed because I didn't draft him.
Having a good receiving core like that makes you win. Philadelphia is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Might be the best team in the NFL. We'll see. I need to see more sample size. I'm a scientist. Carson Wentz, 25 of 43 for 211 yards with 2 fumbles. Ooh, not good for fantasy. 1 loss, which set up a Goeder's 22 catch and run touchdown. Carson Wentz has had some good numbers for Washington, but not enough for them to be 3-0.
He's playing better than I thought he would, but that's not saying much. It's just the whole Washington team is a mess. It's just I don't know what's going on there.
Top to bottom. Kansas City loses against Indianapolis. I saw this coming. Indianapolis had to get their first win. Matt Ryan capped a masterfully managed final drive by finding rookie Jelani Woods on the 12-yard touchdown pass with 24 seconds left for a 20-17 comeback win over the Chiefs. It was Ryan's first victory with the Colts, sealed by Ronnie McLeod's junior interception with 2 seconds to go. Joe, on paper, the Colts look good, and they beat Kansas City in their first win of the season.
This game was weird. Basically, it was just the Colts defense stopping the Chiefs offense, and it was just weird. You kept waiting for the Chiefs to explode or something like that, and they never did, and they just kept getting frustrated. And Indianapolis was able to come out with a win.
The Colts defense stymied Patrick Mahomes and company, giving up just a field goal in the second half and 2 touchdowns following turnovers in the Colts territory. The offense, meanwhile, just did enough to take advantage of some uncharacteristic Chiefs miscues. And when it mattered the most, Matt Ryan was at his best. He finished 27 of 37 for 222 yards, despite getting sacked 5 times and losing 2 fumbles. And he found Woods twice for touchdowns. The first gave Indy his first lead of the season, and the second one wrestled away by Woods, giving Indy the win. I'm not seeing much from Jonathan Taylor. Have you?
No, and it's just one of those things where when he's the only good player on that offense, so obviously they're going to key to stop him. I mean, I still maintain Matt Ryan's a bum. He's washed up and he's okay at best. His best day, he'll be just okay. So I still not a bright future for the Colts. I think this is going to be a bad year for them because gambling on Matt Ryan was a dumb move. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor's still good, but that's all I got.
Now the Chiefs, obviously with no Tyreek Hill, only has Kelsey and some other wide receivers, but Kelsey tweeted out yesterday, KC, you deserve better out of me. Should have put the game away when I had the chance. Hats off to the Colts. They got us back to work ASAP. Do you think the Chiefs are panicking now, or hey, we just had a bad fluky day against the Colts?
It's possible they're fluky, but Kelsey, there was a pass that went right to him in the end zone, and for some reason he dropped it, and that was basically the difference in the game. So he has, I could see why he would tweet that and put the blame on himself. But I think it's just, we suspected that the Chiefs would have problems or questions of dealing with how are they going to lose. What are they going to do without Tyreek Hill? And they're still figuring it out, but I think they will. I mean, Kelsey is still good. Juju Smith-Schuster is looking pretty good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is pretty good. They still have some weapons. They just have to figure out how to use them, and they probably will. So I think the Chiefs will be okay.
They got to harness it. Chicago Bears 23, Houston 20. Roquan Smith set up Cairo Santos game-ending field goal when he intercepted Houston quarterback Davis Mills deep in Houston's territory, and the Bears beat former coach Lovie Smith and the Texans 23-20. Khalil Herbert ran for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Chicago rushed for 281 yards, Joe, even though top running back David Montgomery exited in the early going with knee and ankle injuries. They grinded it out. Houston had some close games, but Chicago had a good win there.
They both stink. This is just a battle of two very bad teams, and hey, somebody had to win, I guess. So,
yeah, at least it wasn't a tie.
Right. Yeah, it's just both of these teams just stink.
Justin Herbert with a rib cartilage issue, not good. Started, and they lost against Jacksonville 38-10. This Jacksonville Jaguar team, top of the AFC South. Trevor Lawrence threw for 262 yards and 3 touchdowns, Joe, in a blowout against the Chargers, 38-10. James Robinson rushed for 100 yards, including a 50-yard touchdown in the third quarter that proved to be the knockout punch. It was the first of 3 straight scoring drives by the Jaguars. They're 2-1. What do we have to say about Jacksonville?
Jacksonville might be legit. They might be like the Lions. They're going to surprise some teams and win more than they should. And heck, the Jacksonville Jaguars might actually win the AFC South. The Titans stink. The Texans stink. Who else is left?
The Colts can't win in Jacksonville.
Yeah, the Jaguars might win this division. That's how bad the AFC South is.
I mean, how it should be. Trevor Lawrence is drafted number 1, supposed to be the greatest quarterback of all time.
Thank you. Yes, all the hype around Trevor Lawrence, and it's amazing how good that he looks and the team looks this year. That's amazing. That's what happens when you have Urban Meyer was a joke, and the problem. He was just a horrible coach, and now you have an actual NFL coach. This is what happened. So yeah, I think the Jaguars are going to win the AFC South, as crazy as that sounds.
Joe said it. I didn't say it, but of course, Jaguars are definitely looking good. A team that is destined to shine will be this year. And of course, congratulations to Doug Peterson. He's putting things into motion. Rams beat Arizona 20-12. The Rams followed the game plan perfectly, and now the defending Super Bowl champs have won 2 straight. Stafford threw for 249 yards. Cam Akers and Cooper Kupp both scored touchdowns, which is a good day. And Los Angeles used a stellar defense effort to beat Arizona 20-12. Kyler Murray was 37 of 58 passing for 314 yards. Not bad. Marquise Brown, which is his main guy now that D-Hop is not around, caught for 14 passes for 140 yards. The Cardinals have lost 7 of 9 games dating to last season. Should we talk about the Rams or the Cardinals?
The Rams they're doing what they do, and they're fine. They're just doing what they do. They have a good defense and a pretty good offense, so they're fine. I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals. Yeah, you lost D-Hop, and that sucks. But does that mean your entire team gets bad? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals, but it's crazy. They gave Kyler Murray that giant extension. They gave the coach a giant extension. I believe they gave the GM a giant extension. Like, okay, fine, you're stuck with all these people, but they're not doing well. So I don't know if that was such a good idea.
Is it about the contract or about winning championships? I don't know yet. Another big game, GOAT versus GOAT. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Tom Brady had no one. Mike Evans was not there. Chris Godwin, but they had Cole Beasley and Scotty Miller, but not enough to beat Green Bay, which Aaron Rodgers threw for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. And they were toe-to-toe. Brady had a last rally, Joe. I'm not sure. Yes, you saw the game because it was pretty much on red zone. And they scored a touchdown, but it couldn't get that 2-point conversion. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, this is just crazy. Both of these teams are going to rely on their defenses, and this is a defensive struggle. But yeah, what do you expect when you have like none of your Cole Beasley? They just signed this, the previous week. So it's like, what do you want, from the Bucks? Yeah, and they still almost were able to tie it. So it's one of those games.
Russell Gage, 87 yards. He scored a touchdown. Cameron Brate, 52 yards. Kyle Rudolph had 12 yards. Cole Beasley had 12. Are you having high expectations for Cole Beasley?
I don't know if he's going to be on the team anymore
once
Evans and Godwin come back. So, yeah.
Former Cowboy,
former Bill. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I still think that the Bucks might be in trouble because maybe Brady's thinking about, his wife yelling at him or something like that. Somebody had a funny joke that said that the loser of this game, the quarterback had to talk to their family. So that's kind of mean.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't affect their game day situation there. Atlanta beat Seattle 27-23. A lot of poor games this weekend. This is another one. Cordell Patterson more than did his part, rushing for a career-high 141 yards and 1 touchdown. He plays for the Falcons, and the Falcons beat Seattle 27-23. Mariota, unbelievably a starter, 13 of 28 passing for 223 yards, and his touchdown through London. Yes, the famous London. London has just 3 catches for 54 yards, while Kyle Pitts had 5 receptions for 87 yards. Geno Smith, Joe, threw for 325 yards and 2 touchdowns, but was intercepted by Richie Grant, a desperation 4th and 18 from the Atlanta 38 with minute 30. It was the 4th time in Smith's career topping 300 yards passing and the first since 2014 season. Another poor game, wasn't it?
Another poor game. Just Seattle is just not all that good. They beat Denver because that was a very emotional game for them. But Seattle's not going to win a lot of games this year. Atlanta's not that good either. But at least they have something of an exciting offense. Mariota is better than I thought he'd be. Yeah, Drake London. He was, I think, the top wide receiver drafted this year. He's looking good. Quarterback pass. Yeah. Not in fantasy, but just a top rookie wide receiver. Cordell Patterson is looking good, and Kyle Pitts is, he's supposed to be a freak tight end. So they could have a good offense. Atlanta's not going to win a lot of games, but still they might be exciting.
Make things interesting in the NFC South. Sunday Night Football, another poor game. The Broncos beat San Francisco 11-10. 9-3 outs, no touchdown passes, only 126 yards passing. It was one of the ugliest games of Russell Wilson's storied career. To him, it was a thing of beauty, he said. We're still learning each other as a whole new system. Wilson said after the Broncos grinded out 11-10, there's so much greatness in store, and I can't wait for it. The Broncos are 2-1, kind of winning ugly games here. Melvin Gordon atoned for 2 fumbles with a late 1-yard touchdown run, and safety Kareem Jackson recovered Jeff Wilson Jr.'s fumble with 1:05 left to preserve the hard-fought win. Denver's defense, which allowed just 36 points through 3 games, sacked Jimmy G 4 times and forced 3 turnovers and sending the Niners to a 1-2. What are your thoughts over this game? Did you watch it?
Yeah. Ugly game. I don't want to say both teams are in trouble, but both offenses are in trouble. This is another game where both teams are going to have to rely on their defense to win games. The 49ers, I don't want to say they might be in trouble with Jimmy G, but that's a bit of a that might not be the wonderful story that we think it's going to be. I mean, Jimmy G isn't the greatest, but that might be a bit of an adjustment for him to get back into speed with the team. And then Denver, I don't know. It's looking a little scary. This might be another situation where they got a bad coach and it's messing everything up.
Nathaniel
Hackett isn't. I don't know. I don't know if he can hack it. they're still trying to figure out how to incorporate Russell Wilson into this team. It's not looking good right now. That offense is just bad. The home crowd just boos the heck out of them. That's a bit of a scary situation, and if they don't fix it soon, it might be a lost season.
Yeah, Russell Wilson is looking less mobile. I'm not sure if that's a Nathaniel Hackett ploy, but definitely not looking like the same. Russell is not looking as the same as he did in Seattle, so quite interesting. And then, of course, Hackett, that comment he made 2 weeks ago or a week ago of going for it or not going for it, you can't say those remarks because that shows weakness.
It was bad, and apparently they hired another coach this past week to help him be a human or something like that. I don't know what's going on, but that is not a good sign. It just seems like one of those situations where you hire a new coach and he's just in over his head. And when you pay all that money to Russell Wilson, and this was supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, for them to be this bad, they better fix it quick.
That's right. AFC West is looking a little bit easier for the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah, we thought the AFC West would be this juggernaut where every team is awesome. And so far, it's just one team that's good and the others are floundering.
The luck is with the Chiefs. Let's look at the standings. AFC East, Miami's 3-0. I would not have thought of that. Buffalo 2-1. Jets 1-2. New England 1-2. Is it going to be a Miami keeper number one, or Buffalo will manage and get back to number one, do you think?
Going into this season, we all thought this was going to be Buffalo was just going to run away with this division. I don't know now. I think it might be a tight race between the Dolphins and Buffalo, and we'll see how it all works out. But I think the Dolphins might be one of the top teams in the conference.
I think things are going to catch up to them, I think, because they've been grinding out some games, to be honest, last minute. We'll see how it goes, but I think defenses will figure them out. We didn't see much of Tyreek Hill yesterday, so they probably save him up for surprises. AFC West, as we talked about, KC 2-1, Broncos 2-1, Chargers 1-2, Vegas 0-3. We can say, yeah, like we spoke about before, it's probably a Kansas City, winning it towards the end.
The Chiefs are, they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah,
they're I mean, they've had offensive struggles before, and they had the struggle a little bit, and then they eventually figured it out. They'll be okay. And Kansas City's defense is actually really good, so they'll be just fine. The Chargers are a little bit scary. Herbert being hurt, I think, just might sink the whole team.
He should have sat out this past weekend, I thought.
He should have sat out, and even when they were losing by 28, he should have been taken out of the game. And they kept playing him. That's bad. I think the Chargers might be in trouble. And like I said about Denver, if they don't fix their problems, they're going to be in trouble too. So this might be an easy division for the Chiefs, it turns out.
AFC South, Jacksonville 2-1, Indy 1-1, Tennessee 1-2, Houston 0-2. As we talked about before, Jaguars, I think destiny is in their hands. They could win this out for them.
I'm telling you what, they could do it. The Colts are looking that bad, and the Titans are looking that bad. So yeah, and Houston is just, they're always bad. So Jacksonville just by default might win this division.
There you go. NFC East, Philly 3-0, Giants 2-0, Dallas 1-1, Washington 1-2. Philly's got this.
They got this. The Giants are a cute little story, but I think they'll come crashing down to earth eventually. Dallas.
Hold on with the prediction for tonight.
Okay. Dallas might, they're always a roller coaster, and Washington they're just bad. So
should we wait till Dak comes back and see, or Cooper Rush might be the real deal?
Hey, Cooper Rush might be the guy. It was
Jerry
Jones said that. Jerry Jones said, "Hey, maybe there was like a quarterback controversy." Like, okay, that's I don't know about that, but hey, they were able to beat the Bengals. So yeah, maybe. I mean, Cooper Rush he's just better than we think.
Is he a Kurt Warner reincarnation?
No, he's a I don't know what he is, but he's.
We'll find out tonight, maybe.
Yeah.
NFC West, Rams 2-1, San Fran 1-2, Arizona 1-2, Seattle 1-2. Rams has got this again, even though they have less of their starting players from last season.
Rams don't look as good as last season, but still they're looking they're solid. They know who they are and they can figure it out. The 49ers, they're still trying to figure out what to do with Jimmy G and how that's, their entire world got rocked when Trey Lance got hurt. So they're still trying to figure out their team. Cardinals, I don't know what's going on with them, and Seattle is just bad.
It's bad. And of course, Debo, I think got hurt a little bit, but I think came back in the game. NFC North, Minnesota 2-1, Green Bay 2-1, Chicago's 2-1, Detroit's 1-2. The NFC North might be tighter than the AFC West.
This might be the actual hard division. Detroit is surprising. Chicago is just bad. They're going to end up last. Minnesota is just puzzling. Sometimes they look incredible and sometimes they look terrible. And Green Bay is just solid. Once they figure out their offense, they're going to be fine. I mean, they're already, they're doing fine and they're still trying to figure things out. So they'll be fine. So Green Bay is going to win this division, but Minnesota, I don't know what's going on with them.
I don't know either. NFL, NFC South, Tampa Bay 2-1, Carolina 1-2, Saints are 1-2, Atlanta's 1-2. I think Tampa Bay's got this. I like to see when Tampa Bay plays Carolina and see how that goes.
That'll be interesting. The big wild card here is New Orleans. What are they going to do? Who are they going to be? Can they, you lost your head coach, which is supposed to be this offensive genius, and nobody talks about that. It's like, well, what are we going to do now? It's like, well, they'll just be fine. I don't know about that. If Winston's hurt, what do you do about that? That's not good. So, New Orleans is a big question mark. Tampa, they'll probably figure it out. They still have a really good defense, and they just need to get their offense going again, and they probably will.
Fournette will carry them. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So tonight, predictions, NFC East showdown, Cowboys at the New York Giants. Oh, it's going to be in MetLife Stadium, not Giant Stadium. Dallas, of course, is 1-1. Giants are undefeated. Will the Giants join the Dolphins and the Eagles as being the only undefeated teams in the NFL? Joe, give us your prediction for tonight.
I just cannot believe in the Giants. I don't know if I want to live in a world where the Giants are undefeated. I don't know. I mean, it's a great story, with the new coach and Saquon Barkley has resurgence and stuff. That's awesome. But I think Dallas, Micah Parsons is that good. There's 4 in the NFL that are defensively are so good that they transform a team in a game. That's TJ Watt of the Steelers, Myles Garrett of the Browns when he's right, Aaron Donald of the Rams, and Micah Parsons of the Cowboys. He could just completely transform a game by themselves. And I think just because of that, and Cooper Rush will just do enough. So I think that the Cowboys will win.
Cowboys are going to win in New York. There will be, if that does happen, they'll be 2-1. Not bad. Jerry Jones will be happy. Poll question of the day. What goes best with pancakes? Butter and syrup is one option. The other option is fruit, chocolate chips, or nuts. What's your choice?
This is the hardest question you've ever asked. I don't know. Butter and syrup is so traditional and so good. Fruit is really good too, but I got to go chocolate chips because that's, But the thing about pancakes is that I've learned recently is I can't do pancakes anymore because it's like I start eating the pancakes and it's all good. And then eventually I hate my life because I'm just so full and it just makes me feel bad. So I got to quit pancakes.
How about if you go on a marathon and then after the marathon you eat pancakes?
I think that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I mean, it's a good, or maybe beforehand a carb load or whatever they say.
Okay. By the way, how is your 5K runs and all that competition?
I just did one yesterday where I ran a 5K and then right after that ran a 10K. So I ran like 9 miles in a couple hours. and I am very sore today because I'm old.
How's your knees doing?
They're okay. If I was on an NFL team, I would be okay to play next week, but I would be listed on the injury report as questionable.
Questionable, and then go take a nice bath.
That's right.
All right, Joe. What is the best way to reach you online to ask you where is a good place to eat pancakes in Pittsburgh?
It's there's a place called Pamela's. They're world famous for pancakes. You got to, if you ever
Pancakes?
go into Pittsburgh, you have to come to Pamela's. That is like a world famous destination. I am a Joey Bag of Donuts V instead of an F, and I'm the best Twitter account in Pittsburgh, and it's not official, but I think I'm going to win that third year in a row.
Third year in a row. Third is the charm, I would say.
That's right.
There is the charm, but yes, follow Joe. He has some great antics, and yeah, you can follow him along. He's very fun. You can follow us on the Sportscast for iOS. You could get our app and you get notifications. Joe, there's no more Pro Bowl. There's going to be now competition skills and flag football, I believe.
Good. It was the Pro Bowl was an absolute joke. I'm glad they got rid of it. I don't care about the flag football thing, but you know what I want to see? I want to see like who's the best passer, like have them throw like the most accurate passer and stuff like that, or who's the fastest runner, or maybe a wide receiving competition or something like that. Let's do stuff like that. You have like the best players there, so have them display their skills. That Pro Bowl game was just painful. Nobody wanted to be there.
It has lost its flavor. We got a chat comment from CJ Chacon. He says, I hope Steelers step up their game. Matt Canada is unbelievable right now.
The big question with the Steelers offense is it Matt Canada's fault or is it Mitch Trubisky's fault? And I think it might be both, but I think it's more Mitch Trubisky's fault because there are, when you look back at the tapes, there are open receivers. There are opportunities to be had in the offense. Mitch Trubisky is just missing them. So that's why people are saying put in Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett will not miss those opportunities, or at least we don't think he would. So, I thought the last game would be a referendum. It's like, well, if you play poorly, then that's it. But who knows how long they're going to keep with this, but Mr. Trubisky cannot keep playing this bad. You just can't, you got to salvage the season somehow.
When do you think he'll start Pickett? What week?
I think it'll probably be like whatever their bye week is, like week 8 or 9 or something like that, probably after that, because I think what they want, they have a tough stretch of games coming up, and I don't think they want to expose Kenny Pickett to that. But after those games, if they're still in it or whatever, then I think it's time to put Kenny Pickett in.
Play game strategy. By the way, guys, tomorrow Sports Talk 101 at Tuesdays 10 p.m. They got a special guest, Gabriel Schrey, a play-by-play broadcaster from the Midwest Sports Network. You can check it out live here on the Sportscast. So definitely it's going to be a fun time with these guys. All right, Joe, I'm going to get ready for Monday Night Football. It's going to be late night tonight. But thanks for coming on to the Sportscast.
Thanks always for having me.
And this was your update.